Hello and welcome to your snack sandwich. Today I'm going to take a quick look at Y2k finance. Now Y2k finance is a risk market. So a place where you can sell risk or hedge against the depegging of certain assets. Now in the docs they do talk about many peggable assets like, STETH, ETH and stuff like this. But as you can see that they're only currently supporting the depegging of the major stablecoins in DeFi. So also they talk about the epochs being a weekly or monthly, but as you can see, you can only use weekly as of now. So when you come here, things can change, of course, over time. Now it's the UI is pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy to choose what you want to do and so forth. But I did read through the docs. The docs is pretty good. I would suggest, as always, come and read the docs for yourself. But I do have a flowchart for you that we'll go through. So let's go over there and take a look at that. Okay, so here we are on the flowchart. We have dollar bill and boosted bill. Dollar bill and boosted bill both need some ETH in order to take part in this ecosystem of hedging and risking. Okay, so let's start with dollar bill. Dollar bill has USDC, so dollar bill is confident in the peg of USDC. So he decides to use some of his ETH to protect, to sell risk, okay? So he's going to deposit his ETH into the protocol versus, USDC, and he's going to get back this ERC 1155 risk token, okay, for the USDC peg, right? Now, what can he do with that is he can stake that risk token into the staker and earn some Y2k rewards. Okay. Now on the other side, we have boosted bill. Boosted bill's done some degenning somewhere, and he's worried about the peg of USDC. So he can pay some premiums with ETH again, and mint up some hedge token. Okay, again an ERC 1155. So then he can also stake that into the staker to earn Y2k rewards. Now, what I like about this is that they are incentivizing both actors. They are incentivizing the people who are selling the risk, and then people who are buying the hedge, right? So with these Y2k tokens, okay? But what do these Y2k tokens do? Well, there's some talk in the docs about VL locking them. So, long-term locking, whatever. I don't know how long that's going to be. The docs don't say anything. And there's also talk about these Y2k holders getting 30% of the fees. Now, I do assume that if they implement Y2k or VL locking, then those fees will go to the VL lockers, okay? Okay, so now that there's this other part that's very important, and this needs to be stressed, okay? There are these different phases of this protocol. So there are two major epochs that they talk about in the docs, the weekly and the monthly, and maybe it will increase, I'm not sure. However, during the weekly epoch, the first 2 days is the deposit phase. So during this deposit phase, Boosted Bill can deposit his ETH and mint these tokens. Boosted Bill can pay his ETH to mint these hedge tokens, okay? However, during this first deposit phase, there is no strike price protection, okay? So the strike price protection only happens in the later phases of the epochs, or the second phase, right? So this is very important for both actors, because if you think of dollar bill's ETH is only at risk for 5 of the 7 days, the last 5. Boosted Bill only has protection for 5 of the 7 days. So this is very important. If the depegging happens during the deposit phase, then there's no change. It's as if there was no depegging event, okay? So let's talk about the depegging event. Let's say USDC is all good. There's no depegging event during this second phase. Then all of the ETH that he basically deposited is sent to Boosted or dollar bill. Now, of course, there is a pro rata sense in here, like depending on how much he paid in ETH, and if there are other actors inside here providing risk as well, right? So this is kind of like his APY, his yield, okay, is on top of these Y2k tokens. So this is the premium paid to all of the holders of these risk tokens. So now, when he wants this ETH, he has to pull his risk token out of the staker, burn it to claim this ETH, okay? Moving on. Now let's say there is a depegging event during these 5 days, right? So if this depegging event does happen, then his ETH is given to boosted bill. Now again, of course, this depends on how many hedge tokens he has versus how many risk tokens were given and sold and so forth. But it's like pro rata. It maths out, how much he's owed, and he will lose some or all of his ETH depending on how much hedging was sold, right? Now, let's talk about the fees. Now, there are some fees, of course, and the fees are on both cases. So the premiums are always charged a 5% fee. So the premiums always get this 5% fee. Now, in the case of a depegging event, then 5% of this transfer of ETH is also taxed and taken as protocol fees. Now, there are two other things inside that are quite important, and that is the strike price. The strike price is set by the protocol. The protocol has a mathematical formula. You can go into the docs, you can read it all. It's all there. But basically, the strike price is the protocol has assessed these assets, looked at standard deviation and daily deviation of these tokens, and set a strike price that they think is fair. You cannot decide the strike price by yourself, either of these actors. It's set by the protocol. Now, the hedging fee is also set by the protocol. So how much ETH does he need to pay? And again, you can go in there and read all the math and stuff like that and find out exactly how much he has to pay in order to buy these hedge tokens, okay? Now, the last thing they talk about is this wildfire. They call this the earthquake system, and down here they call this the wildfire system. Now, the wildfire system is a marketplace where you can sell these ERC 1155 tokens, okay? Now, so grandma comes along, and this is an assumption with some USDC, and she wants to buy some of these tokens. Now, depending on what her needs are, she will buy one or the other. Now, of course, it depends on whether or not these guys are decided to sell their tokens. So let's say Boosted Bill has closed down his degenerate position. He's no longer worried about the peg, whether it will go bad or not. He doesn't care. So he can sell his hedging position. Let's say he used a monthly, and after a couple of days, he decided to close it. So he can sell this. Now, of course, he's going to sell it for like a loss, not a loss per se, but like a premium. It's going to be a little bit cheaper than if she just did it herself, right? Now, also, maybe she needs his hedging right now. She's opened her position now. It's not the deposit phase, but she needs some hedging now, so she can go to this marketplace to buy some hedging. Now, on the opposite side, let's say Boosted Bill decides he wants out, and for whatever reason, and he decides to sell his risk token. Now, why would she buy this risk token? Is because this risk token is able to be burned to pull back the ETH that was not in the event that there is no depegging, right? So she has to be bullish on the USDC peg, and she wants to be probably bullish on ETH as well, because this has ETH inside it. He had to deposit ETH to mint this token, and then he's also owed ETH from the premiums. So maybe he decides, I want out now, so I'll sell it for $1,500. But she looks at it and she says, in a couple of days or in a week or so, I think all of that ETH will be worth $1,800. So then she will buy it and wait that time frame, and then basically get the ETH and profit off of it, do the arbitrage. Okay, so that's pretty much this whole system as I understand it. Again, always, join the Discord, read the docs yourself, and see if you like this system. And I think it's pretty interesting. I like that it's very simple. It's very elegant. It's not overcomplicated. It's just a very simple, straightforward process. Okay, so thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.